He was just, man, he was giving me a hug. We took a picture. And I forgot what question I asked him.
If you know what it takes to turn pain, hustle, and raw talent into a powerful voice in hip-hop, then I would say you can fit in the shoes of Dreezy, a Chicago-born rapper and singer who transformed her struggles into chart-climbing music and undeniable influence. Dreezy is more than just a rapper. She's an artist who tells real stories about relationships, ambition, and the struggle to rise above your circumstances. From her debut album, No Hard Feelings, to later projects and even acting roles, she's continued to evolve while staying authentic to her Chicago roots. I would take you through Dreezy's journey from Chicago battle rapper to mainstream star in this video. The challenges she faced, the music that defined her career, and how she carved out her own lane in the hip-hop industry. So sit back, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the incredible life of Dreezy. Before the world knew her as Dreezy, she was Shaundrea Sledge, a young girl growing up on the south side of Chicago, born on March 28, 1994. Her childhood unfolded in a city full of rhythm, resilience, and contradiction, where creativity lived side by side with instability, and survival often required adaptation long before adulthood arrived. Chicago wasn't just her hometown, it was the environment that shaped her voice, her perspective, and her hunger to express herself. Dreezy's early years were marked by movement. She relocated frequently throughout the city, navigating blended families, shifting households, and the emotional uncertainty that comes with never being fully settled. Those changes forced her to mature quickly, but they also pushed her inward, where imagination became a refuge. Instead of shutting down, she found ways to translate confusion into creativity. Art became a coping mechanism, and music became a language she could rely on when stability felt distant. Long before rap entered the picture, Dreezy gravitated toward the fine arts. As a child, she explored poetry, scatting, and singing, discovering early that words and sound gave her a sense of control over her emotions. By around the age of 10, singing became a serious interest, and she began to understand music not just as entertainment, but as escape. It was a place where she could be honest without interruption, expressive without explanation. Her talent for writing revealed itself even earlier. In school, Dreezy stood out for her ability to articulate thoughts far beyond her years. Poetry allowed her to speak about difference, frustration, and identity, subjects many children struggle to name. As life at home grew more complicated, her writing grew sharper. For a brief period during her early teens, family challenges pulled her away from creativity altogether, but that pause only intensified what came next. Around the age of 14, something shifted. Dreezy discovered rap, not just as a genre, but as a form that allowed both aggression and vulnerability to coexist. Where singing had given her release, rap gave her power. She began channeling her experiences into bars, using rhythm and wordplay to process anger, resilience, and ambition. This wasn't imitation, it was instinct. From the moment she began writing rap lyrics, she knew she had found her voice. Her influences reflected her mindset. She has consistently cited J. Cole and Lil Wayne as formative inspirations, with Cole standing out as her favorite rapper of all time. What drew her to them wasn't just skill, but honesty, the ability to tell personal stories without diluting their truth. That same balance would later define her own artistry. As she entered her mid-teens, Dreezy's focus sharpened. She began taking music seriously, practicing relentlessly, and seeking community within Chicago's underground scene. The instability of her upbringing had taught her independence, and that independence translated into discipline. While others were still searching for direction, she was already building one, fueled by the belief that music was not a phase, but a calling. By the time her early life chapter closed, Dreezy wasn't just a teenager with talent, she was an artist in formation. The constant movement, the emotional pressure, the early exposure to art and expression had all converged into something intentional. Her story didn't begin with fame or opportunity. It began with adaptation, imagination, and a refusal to be silent. Everything that followed would grow from that foundation. In the early 2000s, while Chicago's hip-hop scene was gaining national attention for its raw energy, Dreezy quietly carved out space for herself, sharpening her pen and earning respect locally before the industry ever called her name. Her earliest collaborations with fellow Chicago artists, including Sasha Go Hard, positioned her as a serious lyricist with a point of view, not just another voice trying to break through noise. Her first real turning point came in 2014 with her remix of Nicki Minaj and Lil Herb's Chi-Raq. What could have been dismissed as another freestyle became something bigger. The remix spread rapidly, drawing attention not just from fans, but from industry figures who recognized her control, confidence, and lyrical clarity. The response was strong enough that many listeners openly compared her version favorably to the original, and suddenly, Dreezy was no longer underground. She was unavoidable. That momentum led directly to a major milestone. In late 2014, Dreezy signed with Interscope Records, marking her official entry into the mainstream music industry. The deal validated years of groundwork, but it also introduced new expectations. Rather than rushing a debut album, she released a pair of EPs, Call It What You Want and From Now On, that allowed her to experiment, refine her sound, and build a wider audience on her own terms. In 2016, Dreezy released her debut studio album, No Hard Feelings. The project showcased her range, blending hard rap records with melodic R&B influences, and featured collaborations with artists like Jeremiah, Gucci Mane, and T-Pain. The album established her as a versatile artist capable of navigating multiple lanes without losing authenticity. Its standout single, Body, became her first entry on the Billboard Hot 100, pushing her visibility beyond hip-hop circles and into pop culture at large. Rather than repeating the same formula, Dreezy continued to evolve. Her second studio album, Big Drees, released in 2019, leaned into confidence, independence, and personal growth. By this point, she was no longer introducing herself, she was defining herself. The album reflected an artist comfortable with her identity, unafraid to assert authority in a genre that often resists female leadership. In 2020, Dreezy made one of the most significant decisions of her professional life. She parted ways with Interscope Records. The move marked a shift toward independence, creative control, and ownership. For many artists, leaving a major label is a risk. For Dreezy, it was a recalibration. She re-entered the industry as an artist who had already proven herself, and now wanted autonomy over her direction. That independence came into full focus with Hit Girl in 2022, a collaborative album with producer Hit Boy. The project stripped away excess and leaned heavily on lyricism, confidence, and technical skill. It was widely recognized as a return to form, sharp, deliberate, and unapologetic. The album reinforced Dreezy's reputation as a rapper's rapper, someone respected not just for hits, but for craft. Beyond music, Dreezy expanded her professional footprint into acting, appearing in the Netflix film Beats, which introduced her to a new audience and further established her versatility as an entertainer. At the same time, she continued touring, performing at major venues and festivals, and maintaining relevance in an industry known for short attention spans. Her career is defined by adaptability, self-awareness, and the ability to evolve without erasing where she started. Dreezy didn't just enter the industry to make songs, she entered it to build something lasting, and every chapter of her professional journey shows that she understood the assignment. When people talk about net worth, they often reduce success to a number. But in Dreezy's case, the number only tells part of the story. Her real value isn't just measured in dollars, it's measured in time, adaptability, and ownership, in an industry that rarely grants all three. Dreezy didn't enter music with financial backing or industry safety nets. Her early career was built in the underground, where money was scarce but control was absolute. That foundation shaped how she would later approach wealth, not as something to flash, but as something to sustain. As of the mid-2020s, Dreezy's net worth is commonly estimated between $1 million and $2 million, depending on the source and valuation method. The first major shift in her financial trajectory came in 2014, when her viral Chi-Raq remix led to a deal with Interscope Records. Major label backing brought advances, higher touring guarantees, and access to mainstream distribution. But it also came with trade-offs, royalty splits, recoupment structures, and limited ownership. While this era elevated her income, it also taught her the true cost of visibility. Her debut album, No Hard Feelings, and its breakout single, Body, significantly increased her earnings. The song entered the Billboard Hot 100, unlocking performance revenue, streaming income, licensing opportunities, and touring leverage. One of the most important financial decisions of Dreezy's career came not from a hit, but from a departure. In 2020, she stepped away from Interscope Records, choosing independence over guaranteed advances. From a short-term financial perspective, this move reduced upfront income. From a long-term perspective, it increased control, ownership, and profit participation, key elements of sustainable wealth. Her independent era, highlighted by the 2022 collaboration album Hit Girl with Hit Boy, shifted her revenue model. Instead of relying on label infrastructure, Dreezy leaned into artist-driven income streams, direct streaming revenue, touring, merchandise, and brand leverage. While independent artists often earn less per release initially, they retain a much larger share of profits over time. Also, her appearance in the Netflix film Beats added acting income and expanded her brand into film, while live performances and festival appearances continued to provide steady revenue. She has never been marketed as a luxury-obsessed celebrity, and that restraint reflects her financial philosophy: growth over display. It's also important to understand what Dreezy's net worth does not represent. It doesn't reflect the full value of her catalog, her influence, or her staying power. Artists with decade-long careers, consistent relevance, and ownership of masters often see their wealth increase later than peers who peak early. In that sense, Dreezy's net worth is not a conclusion, it's a midpoint.
Today, Dreezy stands as an artist who has survived multiple industry cycles, transitioned from major label to independence, and maintained relevance without relying on controversy or overexposure. Her estimated net worth reflects not excess, but endurance, a career built carefully, corrected when necessary, and protected with intention. For Dreezy, wealth isn't about how fast it comes, it's about how long it lasts. Long before success, home was something temporary. Growing up on the south side of Chicago, Dreezy moved frequently, learning early that stability wasn't guaranteed and that comfort could disappear as quickly as it arrived. Those early years shaped how she understands space, not as something taken for granted, but as something earned. Home wasn't about square footage or decor. It was about safety, privacy, and the ability to breathe without pressure. As her career began to grow, so did her relationship with the idea of home. While the industry often celebrates excess, mansions, glass walls, and constant visibility, Dreezy moved differently. She never built her public image around where she lived, because to her, home wasn't a flex. It was protection, a place away from expectations, away from commentary, away from the performance that comes with being seen. Dreezy has never publicly showcased or promoted a specific house, and that absence speaks volumes. Home, for her, is not meant for the audience. It's meant for recovery. It's where the armor comes off. What's clear is that Dreezy's home represents control, something she lacked early on and values deeply now. It's a space where music is made without deadlines breathing down her neck, where lyrics are written in silence, and where identity exists without negotiation. Whether she's living modestly or comfortably, the intention remains the same. Home must serve the artist, not the image. There's also a deeper layer. For Dreezy, home is proof of distance traveled. Distance from instability, distance from survival mode, distance from the version of life where nothing felt permanent. Even without public details, the meaning is evident. Having a place of her own, on her own terms, is a quiet victory. Her home might be low on the radar, but here are a few machines in her garage. When people ask about Dreezy's car collection, they usually expect exotic garages and seven-figure price tags. But Dreezy's relationship with cars has always been more intentional than indulgent. For her, vehicles aren't just possessions. They're symbols of momentum, independence, and arrival. And every car tied to her image carries a price that reflects both reality and restraint. One of the most recognizable cars associated with Dreezy appears in the Serena music video, the Mercedes-Benz CLS C218. Sleek, aggressive, and unmistakably upscale, the CLS fits the tone of the record perfectly. Luxury without excess. On today's market, A 2015 Mercedes-Benz CLS typically sells between $15,000 and $30,000, depending on mileage, condition, and trim level, with AMG variants pushing slightly higher. When new, this car carried an original MSRP, ranging from $69,000 to over $100,000 for high-performance models, a clear marker of executive-class success. Parked alongside that refinement is raw American muscle. Also featured in Serena is the Chevrolet Camaro, a car that represents power, aggression, and unapologetic confidence. The 2010 Chevrolet Camaro, commonly associated with the video's era, currently ranges from $8,000 and $15,000 on the used market, with SS trims climbing higher depending on condition. When it debuted, the Camaro's original MSRP sat between $25,000 and $33,000, affordable muscle with heavyweight presence. Outside of music videos, Dreezy has also been photographed and featured in editorial imagery with BMW sedans, most often consistent with the BMW 3 Series. The 3 Series has long been a symbol of understated success, not flashy, but respected. On the used market, BMW 3 Series models from the mid-2000s typically range from $9,000 to $15,000, while newer models climb well above $40,000. This balance between sport and sophistication mirrors how Dreezy presents herself publicly: sharp, controlled, and confident without overstatement. What's notable isn't just the price tags, it's the pattern. None of the cars associated with Dreezy scream excess. There are no confirmed Lamborghinis, no public Rolls-Royce purchases, no curated supercar fleets. Instead, her automotive image sits comfortably in the $8,000 to $30,000 range, grounded in performance, aesthetics, and narrative value rather than shock value. Maybe she is being financially responsible. Maybe she just likes less exotic cars. We may never know. For Dreezy, the real flex isn't what she drives. It's the fact that she's always moving forward, and she can afford to choose the ride. Outside of music, Dreezy values solitude and reflection. Personal time is not wasted time, it's where clarity forms. Whether she's writing, resting, training, or simply living without documentation, those quiet moments are essential. They are the reset button that allows her to return to her craft with honesty instead of exhaustion. Faith and self-awareness also play a role in her inner life. Dreezy has spoken through her work about accountability, intuition, and learning from pain rather than being defined by it. She understands that growth isn't linear, and she doesn't pretend to have everything figured out. That humility keeps her grounded even as her career expands. Dreezy's life reminds us that success doesn't always have to be loud to be real. Sometimes it's built patiently, corrected honestly, and protected fiercely. And that's what makes her journey resonate far beyond the music. This story is still being written. New chapters are coming, and if the past is any indication, Dreezy will continue to move on her own terms, focused, grounded, and unapologetically herself. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Which part of Dreezy's journey connected with you the most? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.